what between Adams Oshiomhole, Air Peace, and FAN. We can't afford that. I think also going forward, we must be able to have an holistic review that every passenger can abide by. So now we know that you're not permitted to take liquids in. But on the contrary, we have also have people that ask and say, on international flights, we can take liquids. Yes, but that's after you get to a point where all the liquids you have been checked and they know at the...
Under 50 mils.
Under 50 mil at the value-free area,
100 mils.
you can carry a certain threshold for international flights. But on local flights, we know better. So on this matter, it's very hazy. If you will give me a video now that shows Wasiu Ayinde Marshal spilling the drink on this person, I will be the first to abuse Wasiu here. If you can give me a lab report that shows this was the item taken from Wasiu Ayinde Marshal and its alcohol, I would be the one to berate him. But I like to talk about the things I know, and that's why I went from known to unknown. So it's still very easy. There's a lot of anecdotal back and forth. It's about, if you also give me a video of a passenger on board that video when the altercation was happening, yes, so maybe FAN should bring us those investigations, let it come back. Without that, it would be, I said, you said. But we have seen the faults from there. The pilot was wrong. Wasiu was also wrong to be in front of the plane at that point in time.
Very dangerous. What about
I stand to be corrected, but I think the captain can deny any passenger boarding from the flight at any moment. Of course, if you're airborne, that's difficult. But the airline does reserve the right to deny any passenger access onto the aircraft if they feel that there is a security risk, if they feel so many things, because the primary thing in aviation is security. So it would have been one situation if he has been denied access boarding onto the aircraft and then he went back and challenged that he was denied. But what we see is you are denied access to board the aircraft. And then, unfortunately, there's the situation where, because he's also surrounded by some of the ground staff, they're behaving in a reckless way. I would have thought that there would have been somebody to restrain him, because they were also just kind of there loitering. You know, they didn't make an attempt to direct him to a safe place. I've never in my life seen a passenger walk in front of an aircraft that close to the very front of it. Usually there are even, you know, cones, there's demarcation, there's something, right? So I say this to say that I think that there's a degree of impunity that happens. I know that those in aviation will get upset at this type of statement because that's not the image we image we want to paint. The truth is, if you travel domestically in this Nigeria, you will know that you have been through one or two things that you will never see anywhere else. That's the honest truth. Whether it's people rushing to board, whether it's people, there's a lot of things that are happening that shouldn't be happening. And we say this not because we don't like our aviation sector. We say this because let's resolve it. Let's fix it. Let there be sanity. Because when there's sanity, when it's well regulated, people will know that they can't get away with big manism, if it's a case of big manism. When there are rules and they're adhered to, and we know that these rules are going to be implemented, then people will also fall into line. So yes, we can speak of the high-profile cases, but there are low-profile cases that happen on a daily basis with regular passengers who also feel that they've been wronged by the aircraft. So they feel like they can also retaliate by doing their worst. But I just thank God that in all of this, nobody was injured, nobody was killed, because that could have been, you know, this story could have ended a lot more tragically. And I just sincerely hope that all of this can be ironed out and resolved in an amicable way. Some people are saying that, oh, you know, the pilot should be suspended for an extended period of time. Some people are even saying that the passenger should also be put on a no-fly list. I think that we can use this as a teaching moment for all those, all parties involved. Let's see how we can regulate this sector more closely when it comes to domestic travel.
No, I think there's something that happens when people are at the airport and in vehicles, because I think the mentality of it is something like road rage is, again, an international problem, but again, there's something that happens to people when they're in their cars and they really, really are hypersensitive. If someone crosses in front of you, you get angry. You've seen many videos of people jumping out of their cars, getting into a fisticuffs, and I think that you see that also at airports. I don't know what it is, whether it's the strict rules or people thinking that they are too important to adhere to liquid rules or timing rules or whatever. There's something that happens when people are in transport or in transit that really distorts the way they behave. In terms of Kwam One himself, Wasiu Ayinde, he said, he released a statement, I saw it on social media, and he talked about how he feels as though he is the victim in this situation. He talked about how he had received numerous apologies from many people, from the airports authority, from the managing director of the airline himself, basically saying that all of them agreeing that he had been treated poorly, and we really don't know what the ins and outs are. As you've said, we don't know what actually happened, whether or not he was on board, whether he was on his seat, whether or not he made it that far. There's so many questions that need to be answered. What we have seen, though, the video is shocking, and I think it shows that there was bad behavior all round. First and foremost, everyone needs to prioritize their own personal safety and the safety of others. There should be no reason why any passenger should be that close to the outside of a plane, regardless of who they are. So I don't know why that happened. And it is very unfortunate and very shocking to see that a pilot who you would expect to be well-educated, well-trained, would ever deploy their vehicle or a weapon in this instance so close to other people. As I said, there's bad behavior all around, and we're hoping that everything comes to an amicable solution, but there does need to be a bit more understanding that everybody needs to behave properly at the airport, whether you're a passenger, whether you're security staff, whether you're a pilot. Let's not abuse our powers, whatever they be, and let us just all contribute to a peaceful travel experience.
We don't do this internationally. We like to
People
do it
to
here.
be honest. People do. I've seen people misbehave in airports. Honestly, people misbehave. That's what I'm saying. That I think that is the
happens
thing.
everywhere.
People misbehave in airports.
Maybe
for
not
sure.
standing in front of a plane.
That one I haven't seen. That one I haven't seen.
First time for everything, I guess. So, moving on to our next story today. The president of the African...
Ọlọ́run máa máa jáyé ó dì wá, àbí? Nígbà tí aeroplane sáré lọ tó fẹ́ fò, tí wọ́n wá ń lé mú tó fẹ́ di táyà ẹ̀ mú, àbí? Ẹ rí pé iṣẹ́ ayé leléyìí báyìí. Ọlọ́run là wá ń bẹ̀ o. Ní August 5 ní ọjọ́ Monday tó kọjá yìí, gbọ́mi sí omi òtó ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ọkọ̀ òfurufú ní pápá ọkọ̀ òfurufú Nnamdi Azikiwe nílùú Àbújá ni o. Nígbàtí Alhaji Wasiu Ayinde tí wọ́n fẹ́ gbéra tó fẹ́ máa bọ̀ nílùú Èkó láti Àbújá ní àárọ̀ kùtùkùtù ọjọ́ yìí, àmọ́ tó lọ ṣe l'Àbújá o, àbí? Bàbá náà lọ gánu sí ni, àbí? Ògùn jẹ́ kí wọ́n lọ kọrin bẹ́ẹ̀, gbogbo yẹn oyè Ọlọ́run. Gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ níbi ọkọ̀ òfurufú Value Jet, wọ́n jẹ́ oyè K1 o, nígbà tí K1 ń bọ̀, wọ́n fẹ́ board flight pẹ̀lú kíní flask kan tí wọ́n gbé dání tí wọ́n mọ̀ tó wà nínú ẹ̀. Wọ́n jẹ́ oyè wọn wípé òfin látọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba pẹ̀lú àwọn Aviation Authority ní pé wọ́n gbà kí ẹnikẹ́ni kó gbé nǹkan tó bá wà liquid kó fẹ́ gbé wọnú flight o. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ṣe mọ̀ wípé bó ṣe wà jákèjádò gbogbo àgbáyé náà léléyìí, ẹ jẹ́ kí n kà síwájú fún wa kó túbọ̀ yé wa. In accordance with international aviation security standard, specifically Nigeria's National Civil Aviation Security Program and ICAO Annex 17, liquids exceeding 100 milliliter, that is 100 ml, are not permitted through security screening unless medically necessary and properly declared. Bó ṣe wà nìyẹn, òfin tí wọ́n gbé kalẹ̀ lélẹ́yìí o, wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe àlàyé pẹ̀lú respect, pẹ̀lú ìbọ̀wọ̀ fún. Wọ́n ṣe àlàyé fún bàbá wa K1 nígbà tí wọ́n gbé ìfami wọn lọ́wọ́ àbí láì ṣọmọdé kìíní ìfami tí wọ́n máa ń gbé dání tí wọ́n máa ń bu nǹkan sí that is flax tí wọ́n gbé dání tí nǹkan dẹ̀ wà nínú ẹ̀ wọ́n ṣe àlàyé báyìí fún bàbá wa K1 lè gbé kìíní yìí wọlé K1 fárígá àwọn á gbé wọlé níṣẹ́ kò sí nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ ṣe àwọn máa gbé wọlé ní àbí àwa la ní Nàìjíríà ẹni tó bá wù wá la lè ṣe àbí aláwọn onígbà o àbí ẹ jẹ́ ká wo fẹ́ràn náà kéńkéré ibi tí bàbá tó ti ń ṣe àlàyé fún K1 tí K1 ò ti gbọ́ ẹ jẹ́ wò ní ṣókí. òun nìyẹn o ibi ìgbéraga òun ló máa ń ṣíwájú ìparun wọ́n ṣe àlàyé fún K1 ní pẹ̀lẹ́ ní tùbínùbí àbí àwa la ní ìlú Nàìjíríà ìyà ò lè jẹ mí ohun tó bá wù wá la lè ṣe wọ́n fẹ́ lu agbára fún wọn nìyẹn o àbí ara nǹkan tá à ń wí lélẹ̀ he believes he can go away with this ṣé ti rí báyìí òyìnbó bọ̀ òyìnbó ní act of indiscipline can actually hinder progress rather than facilitate it. Ṣé Nàìjíríà tá à ń sọ lélẹ́yìí? Ṣé bẹ́tà Nàìjíríà tá a fẹ́ mú fún wa? Ṣé òun lélẹ́yìí? Ká sọ̀rọ̀ fọ́mọ kó gbọ́ ní ti ọmọlúwàbí. Nígbà tí wọ́n ń sọ fún K1 ní pẹ̀lẹ́ ní tùbínùbí, wọ́n ti wò pé aṣíwájú ni bàbá àwọn. Òun ló wà ní president. Àwọn lè ṣe ohun tó bá wu àwọn. Nígbà tí wọ́n ti ṣe òfin, wípé nǹkan tó bá ti jẹ́ nǹkan liquid tó jẹ́ bí omi, ó lè gbé wọlé àbí ó lè gbé wọlé nígbà tí wọ́n dẹ̀ yẹ kíní yìí wò ká tó wí ká tó fọ̀ K1 dà sí wọn lára wọ́n tú sí wọn lára tó dà bẹ́ẹ̀ ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti mọ̀ wípé ọtí ló wà nínú flax tí K1 gbé dání yìí o wọ́n rí pé ògógóró ló wà ń bẹ lélẹ́yìí tí ò tọ̀nà lélẹ́yìí tí ò bá òfin mu ìwọ tó ń wò mí yìí gbogbo ara máa ṣèdájọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí tẹ́ bá gbọ́ atótónu mi tán o fídíò kan sì tún ń bọ̀ tí mo fẹ́ fún wa ẹ jẹ́ àfẹ́rabalẹ̀ o ẹ máa rí nǹkan gbọ́ inú fẹ́ràn yìí àbálò àbábọ̀ nígbà tí wọ́n sọ gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ yìí tó tí K1 ò gbọ́ tí wọ́n bá K1 sọ̀rọ̀ bí ọmọlúwàbí bí aṣíwájú rere àbí fún gẹ́gẹ́ bí èèyàn tó jẹ́ pé àgbàlagbà tó ń lọ́rọ̀ gbọ́ nígbà tó ọ̀dẹ̀ ti gbọ́ àbí adarí wọn níbi pápá ọkọ̀ òfurufú yìí ló bá ní kí wọ́n ti ilẹ̀kùn àbí she instructed the closure of the aircraft door ẹ tilẹ̀kùn ká máa lọ àbí eléyìí tó wá yà wá lẹ́nu púpọ̀ ń bẹ̀ ni pé K1 bá sáré lọ síwájú pápá òfurufú o ní lọ́sẹ̀ àbí ó ní lọ mí ní gbà wọ́n bá sáré lọ láì ṣe èdì èdè ayé ò ní mú èmi o èdè ayé ò mà ní mú wọn tó ń wọ̀ mí yìí aircraft mà la pé aeroplane mà la pé ní gbogbo ọba ẹkún bí aláàjì àbí gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tá a máa ń sọ fún wa lélẹ́yìí kò sí àǹfààní nínú ọtí mímu kò sí àǹfààní nínú ọtí mímu bó ṣe lè wù kó mọ̀ àbí kí lè expect fẹ́ni tó ti mọ̀ gógóró yó tó ti yó tójú ti lẹ́rìn àbí èyí tó bá tóbi gbàgbà á dàbí eṣinṣin níwájú ẹ̀ ní àbí kọ́lọ̀ má ṣe wá lálá ìgbọràn ẹkú ọ̀nbẹ́ wọn àgbọ́ o àbí ẹ jẹ́ wo fídíò náà àbí ẹ jẹ́ wo fídíò náà o nígbà tí K1 wá sáré síbẹ̀ tí pẹ́pẹ́ ọkọ̀ òfurufú ti fẹ́ fò tó bá sáré lọ́bẹ̀ ẹjẹ́ àgbọ̀ òun làwọn èèyàn wá ń sọ ń bẹ̀ pé wait now ìwọ ò ṣe dúró dé àbí ṣé you drunk why you no wait ẹjẹ́ àwọ fẹ́ràn náà ó yẹ. Wait now, say you drunk, why you no wait? the báyìí sì why you no wait why you no wait ṣé you drunk why you no wait ṣe rí báyìí ó lágbára díẹ̀ o ṣé kéwọn fẹ́ di táyà aeroplane mú ni báwo ọwọ́ díẹ̀díẹ̀ lára ń fẹ́ ọwọ́ díẹ̀díẹ̀ lára ń fẹ́ tọ́ bá ti báyọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ nítùbí ìnùbí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọlúàbí ó mà yẹ ká gbọ́ mà ní ẹjẹ́ jayé mọ níwọ̀nba ìwọ̀n ní nǹkan dùn mọ́ ìwọ ló wà ń bẹ̀ lẹ́nìí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà nípò agbára nílùú Nàìjíríà ẹ̀yin màlẹ́ wà ń bẹ̀ lẹ́nìí tó bá dọ̀la ẹlòmíì ló máa wà ń bẹ̀ o ẹ jayé mọ níwọ̀n mo ní bàbá ìgbẹ́jọ́ ti bá wùwà tí ò dáa kò sẹ́ni tó máa mú mi mo ní connection mo mọ lóṣèlú mo mẹni tó wà nípò mínísítà tó jẹ́ mínísítà tó wà ń bẹ̀ wọ́n la fi síbẹ̀ kò sí ń tá a lè ṣe tá a ní mú jẹ ẹ má jẹ́ àgbàgbé Ọlọ́run ọba ẹ má jẹ́ àgbàgbé pé bógún bá jẹ lọ ọgbọ̀n á jẹ bọ́ ntẹ́mi ṣe fẹ́ràn àwọn ìlú òyìnbó nìyẹn. May God continue to bless United States of America àti gbogbo àwọn ìlú tó kù rule of law ó wà uphold ó dẹ̀ wà very very functional rule of law ó ṣe pàtàkì ó dẹ̀ dúró síbẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ ń work pa ìlú Nàìjíríà òfin ò sí òfin tó wà fún àwọn mẹ̀kúnnù nìkan ni àwọn olówó wọn ti kọjá òfin nílùú Nàìjíríà gbogbo eléyìí náà ní kéwọn ń wò táwọn báwọn lè mú jẹ ṣùgbọ́n ká dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo àwọn tó yẹ pé wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ nílé iṣẹ́ náà ilé iṣẹ́ Falujet wọ́n jẹ́ oyé wọn pé òfin làwọn bá dúró kò sí bó ṣe lè tóbi tó kò sí bó ṣe lè tó òfin jù ẹ lọ bó ṣe jẹ́ nìyẹn o NCAA lẹ́nìí wọ́n ti wá announce suspension fún gbogbo àwọn pilot tí wọ́n wa ọkọ̀ òfurufú náà wọ́n ti suspend wọn o àwọn pilot tí wọ́n wa ọkọ̀ òfurufú yìí NCAA wọ́n ti suspend wọn ẹ jẹ́ kí n kà fún wa kó lè yé wa wọ́n dá ẹjọ́ fọ́tún wọ́n dá ẹjọ́ fọ́sì. NCAA today announced the suspension of the flight's pilots for breaching of aviation safety protocols by taking off and endangering the safety of ground personnel and other airport users. Wọ́n ti suspend the pilot tí ó ń wa ọkọ̀ náà. Àwọn pilot tí ó ń wa ọkọ̀ yìí wọ́n ti gba ìdájọ́ ní tí wọ́n ṣe ò dá o torí pé kí ni wọ́n endanger life àwọn tó wà nísàlẹ̀ ni gẹ́gẹ́ bí K1 bó ṣe ń sáré lọ síbẹ̀ pẹ̀lú gbogbo àwọn staff tó kù ó ṣeé ṣe kí eléyìí ṣe àkóbá èyí náà jẹ́ wò ó bí K1 ṣe ń sáré lé ọkọ̀ yìí tí apá flight yìí bá gbàdànù tó bá ṣe wọ́n léṣe ó ṣeé ṣe kó mú ẹ̀mí dání eléyìí ni wọ́n ṣe suspend àwọn pilots tó wa ọkọ̀ yìí o bí ìyẹn ṣe jẹ́ lápá ọ̀tún nìyẹn. Apart from suspension of pilots, Aviation Authority is considering putting K1 on a no-fly list over its conduct. Àwọn àwùjọ yìí náà wọ́n ti wá ń fẹ́ gbé ìgbésẹ̀ pé kí wọ́n fi K1 sí no-fly list fún ìwà tí K1 wù ìwà tí ò bófin mu ni ìwà tí ò bójú mu ni àbí ayáńtà ń wí lélẹ́yìí ẹ pàdé àgbàlagbà lọ́nà ẹni torí pé ó jẹ́ àgbàlagbà kó kọ́ yín lọ́gbọ́n bóyá wéèrè lòun náà ṣe tó fi dàgbà ẹ mọ̀ bí ìwà tí K1 wù yìí ìwà tí ò bá ojú mu ni ìwà aláṣejù bàbá ṣetẹ́ ni ìwà jàgídíjàgan kò gbéyàn débi kankan o ṣé K1 lè wu irú ìwà báyìí nílùú òyìnbó ṣé K1 lè wu ìwà jákujàku yìí ní ìlú òyìnbó ó gbé nǹkan dání ó rọ ọtí sínú ẹ̀ tó ń yọ́ mu wọ́n tún wá ń sọ fún ẹ pé o lè gbé wọnú flight òun bá wọn ṣagídí ṣé K1 lè ṣe báyìí ní UK K1 lè wu ìwà pálapàla báyìí ní Amẹ́ríkà K1 lè wu ìwà jákujàku yìí ní any country ní Europe ìwà tí ò dára yìí wọ́n tún wá ń sọ fún ẹ náà ó tún bá wọn ṣagídí wọ́n ní o gbé wá o lè gbé wá o lè gbé wọn lọ́wọ́ ó wá tú sí wọn lára gbogbo eléyìí wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí í rùn eléyìí wọ́n jẹ́ mọ̀ yìí pé ògógóró ló rọ sínú ẹ̀ ìwà jákujàku lélẹ́yìí o fáǹfààní èyí tẹ́ ń béèrè pé kí ló ń jẹ́ no fly list kí ló ń pè ní no fly list a no fly list is a database of individuals prohibited from boarding commercial flights due to suspected links to terrorism or other security threats. No fly list ni àwọn èèyàn kan tí wọ́n fi sínú ìwé yìí wípé wọn nílé fò nínú any commercial flights kankan bóyá wọ́n ti rí gbọ́n ti wu ìwà ikọ́ ìwà jàgídíjàgan àbí wọ́n ti wu ìwà kan tó jẹ́ pé ó lè jeopardize safety àwọn ẹ̀mí tó kù nínú flight kó ṣe àkóbá bá wọn bí irú ìwà tí K1 wù yìí ìwà tí ò dání àwọn ẹ̀mí kan ló wà nínú flight yìí tí ó bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tí pilot bá wà distracted tó bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bá sorí kodò kọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀mí tó kù nínú ẹ̀ ń kọ́ ìwà tí ò dá lélẹ́yìí o bí ìgbà tí yẹn bá ń lé ọkọ̀ òfurufú ẹ̀ ní lọ mo fẹ́ lọ ẹ̀ ní lọ kò dá bẹ́ẹ̀ wọn ò ní jẹ́ kí pilot kó concentrate lórí nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe tó bá ṣe mistake lọ tẹ bọ́tì tí ò yẹ kó tẹ̀ ńkọ́ gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀mí tó kù ń bẹ̀ ńkọ́ eléyìí ni wọ́n ń rò bóyá kí wọ́n fi wọ́n sí no fly list kí wọ́n bá lè gba ọkọ̀ òfurufú kankan mọ́ eléyìí ni àwọn àwùjọ yìí ń gbà lérò ọlọ́run á fún yín ṣe o ẹni tó bá ṣẹ̀ ó jẹ́ ká báwí ni èmi fi ẹran bọ́ o kí wọ́n fi K1 sí no fly list bí ò ti ẹ̀pẹ́ púpọ̀ bí ò bá ju ọdún kan lọ àbọ́dún márùn-ún kí wọ́n fi eléyìí kọ́ wọn lọ́gbọ́n pé a kì í ṣe tẹ́ ẹ bá ṣe ntójú ẹni tó bá ń ṣe máa ń rí òun ní eléyìí ẹ̀yin ẹ̀dá tó kù náà ẹ fi eléyìí kọ́gbọ́n ayé fàmílétẹ̀ kí n tu tó dà ẹ bá ba ìlú Nàìjíríà jẹ́ ẹ bá ti torí pé ilẹ̀ wà ń bẹ̀ ẹni bàbá ìgbẹ́jọ́ kẹwàá máa di ayé ìjẹkújẹ ẹ̀mí tó kù náà ẹ̀mí ni gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀mí tó wà nínú flight yìí ẹ̀mí kan ni wọ́n èèyàn kan ò ga jù yàn kan lọ ẹ má jẹ́ ajayé àwọn ọmọ wa méje ẹ jẹ́ ṣe pẹ̀lẹ́pẹ̀lẹ́ ìwọ̀n ní nǹkan dùn mọ́ o tá a bá wí fọmọ ẹni agbọ́ni tó bá ṣe wípé láti ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ tí wọ́n ti ń bá K1 sọ ọ̀rọ̀ ní tùbínùbí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ò bá má dé báyìí tó bá ń pọ́n ẹ lé ìwọ́n náà pọ́n àwọn èèyàn lé o ò ga ju èèyàn kan lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o ó ga ju èèyàn kan lọ àpọ́nlédè ni ara ń fẹ́ o bí ọ̀rọ̀ náà ṣe jẹ́ lélẹ́yìí ọlọ́run ọba má ṣe mí lálàṣẹ jù bàbá àṣetẹ́ o good day.